Welcome to Planit Butter, my world, where I hopefully inspire you to build yours by being Intucentric. An immersive experience. Every episode is designed to provoke consciousness through entertaining perspectives and applied philosophy. Through my own Intucentric way and embodiment and sharing it and reflecting on it and all the boogies, and occasional guest episodes where we visit other worlds and learn something cool. Every episode is filmed in an international location, depending where my very interesting Intucentric way continues to bring us. Today, we are in Brazil for episode 109. I'm Jordan Alexandra Planit. This is from my planet to yours. Thanks for joining me for today's episode in Brazil in this beautiful hammock. And as usual, I highly encourage you to switch over from listening to watching, because this is much less of a podcast, much more of a variety show, and a very, very interesting approach to a documentary series. planetbutter.substack.com. See you Thursday. All right, guys. Welcome to Brazil. It took a lot to get here. A lot of work. I've known Brazil was going to be next for a while because it came in pretty hot intuitively, as it does. But it's interesting because your intuition is first, but it doesn't mean you do it first. Sometimes it hangs in the back, but it's like, okay, I told you this is on your radar, but it doesn't make it time yet. And that makes it very tricky to navigate, because sometimes your intuition comes in and it is like, now, like, do it now. And other times it's just like it's weird. And that's why I love trying to figure it out, because I know I never will, because it's magic. And magic on Planit Butter, as we define it, is the possible that we can't comprehend. And I love challenging myself, and I love part of that challenge is I understand myself super well, but my intuition, I can interpret it pretty fucking amazingly, because that's what I do full time. Guys, that's what Planit Butter is full time, is me tracking my intuition and analyzing it to the best of my ability while integrating it with my ego self, so that I can most objectively share it with you guys, because it is so fucking interesting to me. And I see what happens when I listen to my intuition and get better and better at analyzing it and interpreting it and reading it. And I'm like, damn, I wonder what everybody else's life would be if they listened to theirs as hard as I listen to mine. So I hope you guys choose to be Intucentric. Anyway, how do we get to Brazil? That's what episode 109 is going to be about, guys. So when I was in Florida, when I first got to Florida, which was probably, I think it was 3-ish months ago, I really don't keep track. Unless I need to keep track of something for like my visa reasons, I don't keep track. And honestly, even then, I don't need to keep track, because for whatever reason, the uni's got it. And so I've never, like, the uni just always brings me to a place before I even have to think about the visa expiring. Or that's not true, because I've had to extend visas, but then I do, and somehow I just meet a person with a visa person. It just, everything resolves itself. Just lead with your intuition. All right. And clarify your boundaries, respect your boundaries, show up confidently in doing so, stay in alignment, the whole boogie, and make decisions effectively using the PB Jet ring of consciousness. Intuition, sensations, action, sensations again. Which brings us to Brazil. Brazil came in during my first few weeks when I got to Florida. Because what happened was, I was sitting on the beach, Miami Beach, and I was appreciating these kite surfers. And for the first time, something about this kite surfing just like struck something inside of me. Like, that's the little intuitive ping. I was like, huh. I felt a little ping, the little ping. I was like, interesting. But at the time, I was in what I'm calling like an integration period of like deep, deep rest because I had just finished growing through a lot of whatever it was in California, and I had just finished publishing the book officially publishing Intucentric, releasing it, Butterfly High. And it was like this aggressive need to integrate because it was just very intense LA. I mean, everything feels pretty intense in a good way, but everything's intense, whether it's positive experiences or really hard experiences that are also positive, just really, really hard positive. The intensity is always the same in my Intucentric way because the amount that I really set for myself to emotionally regulate properly and digest everything that I'm experiencing to such a degree that I can just grow very rapidly and move forward quickly. For my timeline, my individual timeline, I believe I move quite quickly for myself because I don't let anything linger. I don't let anything go unprocessed. And I sit with absolutely everything until I have, in that moment, the most clarity possible for myself to feel optimal to then move forward. And so Brazil came in alongside this kite surfing ping. And then I was like, interesting, I'm feeling this pull to kite surf and now to Brazil. So then I look up Brazil and it turns out it's actually one of the best places in the world to kite surf. So I was like, that's fascinating. And I'm not surprised. But it was funny because I didn't know at all that that was the case. And I just had the intuitive thought, really, like, I wonder if those have any connection to each other because I just received both and seems possible, but I don't know. And then it was. And it's like literally one of the best countries in the world to go kite surfing. So I'm like, that is sexy. And so obviously I'm like very excited because I figured that out. And after a few, maybe a month or a few weeks in Miami, I thought, okay, it's going to be time to go. And because I was checking out of this one place and I knew that checkout, like I could feel, which I'm working on explaining that to you guys because I can feel like the end of things. Like you could just, I'm working on that. And if you guys have questions, it would help me help you because I read the universe the way people read a room. Like I do my best to take everything, and it's like my room, my universe, not the universe. I read my Planit Butter Intucentric way and the universe. So at scale, I can observe everything in my life, the patterns, the people, the environments, in such a way that I can pattern recognize when things are like looping closed. And I've talked about this with you guys before through other storytime episodes. But so when it comes to something like an Airbnb, usually there's an external something. So there's either a literal calendar block. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm leaving because there's not even the option to extend. Or if there is an option to extend, I have to be really, really precise with myself about what my boundaries are so that I know if I am meant to continue to extend or leave. And I was in this one place that was like so cute. I was sleeping so well. It was so cozy. I was covered in trees. It was like the little jungle place. And I thought I finished my cozy time there. I'm like, okay, we cozied up, we cocooned, we rested hard. Now it's time to go. And I thought Brazil, but that's when I learned that Brazil, we needed a visa. I didn't know we needed a visa. That was new. As of April 2025, Brazil requires American citizens to have a visa for entry. So I could not just book a flight the night before like I was trying to do. And that told me, not yet, chickie. But what did it do? It got getting my visa in motion, which wound up taking like 2 weeks because of tech issues on their end. My photo was, I was smiling and I wasn't supposed to be. And then some other tech things, like just one thing after the next. It was like, okay, wow, still here, still Florida. And so we did that. And it just, things kept like prolonging Brazil, but I knew it was Brazil. The clarity for Brazil and the desire was like right there. So I'm like, okay, that's usually the like, boom, let's go. And this time it was like, not yet. And between the learning I needed a visa, the actual getting of a visa, and then the multiple other personal transcendence situations that I needed to go through to get to eventually coming here, all had to happen. I had to do a lot of personal work to get here. Everywhere I go requires personal work. Each location I go to contains lessons for me to give to the place and to receive from the place. And only once we transcend those lessons do we graduate to the next place. That's kind of what I've recognized the patterns to be, to put it as simply as I can. But it is quite challenging to communicate, and I love trying. So stick with me and just ask me if you guys have any questions. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. So, there was another time when I thought it was time to go to Brazil, but it was Thanksgiving. And I actually needed to be with friends and socializing. So I tried to leave. I really did. I tried to leave. I looked at flights again, and something interrupted me. Like, I had to check out of my place, and I was overstaying my checkout. The next people showed up while I was there. They arrived early, and I was basically in their house at that point, but they arrived early and I was checking out late. So we were both in this weird window, but I should not have been there and I had to go. I was like, okay, you can't look at flights right now, chickie. Fine. That's like a uni block, like not yet. Okay. And then I was going to see my friend. So I go to see my friend, and at the time, I was experiencing what I'm calling an energy leak. The brief of it is, there was an interpersonal relationship in my life that I was giving loving attention toward, that I actually needed to not be giving loving attention toward. And it caused a lot of emotional and mental confusion in my little brain because it's a family member. And I'm like, damn, I can't have this. This very confusing for me. Blocking my knowing in a lot of ways. So not good. And anyway, we do the Thanksgiving boogie, and still not time for Brazil. So we got the Brazil block. Then we go to the Thanksgiving. We're supposed to socialize. We get all these amazing positive mirrors and happy friends and all the things. Yay, life. And then I'm like, okay, done. Next. And then we're carrying on our way through Florida, and what happens next? I end up in Delray Beach for like a month, and beautiful place. Met some amazing artists. I was being mirrored artists nonstop in Delray Beach. That was quite an interesting experience as well. And still, Brazil is coming up. And then, again, I was about to check out of a place, and I got this crazy wave of Dubai. And I was like, well, that one came out of left field, but the clarity was high. So I was like, the fuck? And I literally, I kid you not, I checked out of my place the next day. I was ready to go. I packed up, I checked out, I was looking at flights. I didn't book anything yet because I think I subconsciously knew not yet. But I literally was driving down towards the airport to return my car, do all the things. And instead, I made like 5 wrong turns. And eventually I was like, Jordan, what are you doing? But long story short, I tried to go to Brazil too soon, like 3 times. And I share that because I want you guys to know how hard I work to analyze, interpret, and understand my intuition. And this was the first time where I've had so many attempts at timing, but each attempt served its purpose in that moment. Like, it really did. And it that much greater affirmed the knowing, like, Brazil's been the repeat, the through line of Florida was Brazil's next, which is so funny. And yeah, it just got kind of crazy. And then the last few days, everything was really winding down, and I could feel, I'm like, okay, we're at the end here. And I got one subtle wave of going to LA again, and I was like, that doesn't feel like accurate at all. But the clarity for a split second was there, like, because there was this wave of like, I can feel and see that. But just because we can feel and see something doesn't mean it's in our best interest. So it was interesting because that came through. And then the next morning, the day before I leave, the day of that I leave, I wake up and I'm like, all right, what's cooking, chickie? And then my mom happens to call and she goes, all right, you know where you're going? She goes, I hope it's South America. It's so amazing there. And I go, it's Brazil. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. I've had waves of Dubai, I've had waves of LA, I've had the waves, but what's been the like, Brazil has been the ping. It's been the ping. It's been the real ping. So, and I'm still, the Dubai one was a bit weird, but I did get an email from a company out there like 2 days later. So I'm like, maybe I just picked up on something. I don't know. It was so strange. Anyway, I did my breath play and everything was like, yeah, Brazil, baby girl, it's time. I just kind of, at that point, I kind of couldn't believe that it became time because it had been so long that I would feel this pull and it wasn't actualized yet, which is making me think of something else in my life. So I'm like, whoa. It's weird when you know something for so long and then it finally becomes time for it. And that's where believing is seeing comes in, gentlemen. Believing is seeing is what we say on Planit Butter. It's what breaks the intangible tangible. The wind's picking up as I'm saying this, so I feel like I'm creating a spell or something. Anyway, trust your knowing and trust the timing. That's the takeaway. Because when it finally became time for Brazil, I was so excited. I was so ready. And I think in most of the places in the last year, as we've been working through building this sculpture in book form that is Intucentric, I had zero preparation time. And mentally or emotionally for the places I've traveled to. The places have just kind of demanded my presence and I've gone like that day. And it's like, I still booked Brazil that day. I woke up yesterday, I said, yes, it's Brazil. But that wasn't on a whim. It was a 4 months of 3 months. I get, like I said, I don't keep track. It was like a few months of knowing and feeling into it and dancing with it, and like it's not just traveling on a whim. It's like I'm being pulled places. So the gravity of Brazil was pulling me, but it wasn't like a snap. It was a glide. It was like, but it wasn't that smooth of a glide either, because Florida was a really like, there was a lot there. But whatever, it became time, and we booked on the same day and we traveled here the same day, and everything else got sorted out in the same day, including this magnificent place. But it's not on a whim. It was like we felt into it, and I'm going to continue to work on communicating to you guys how I do navigate this, because I find it so interesting myself, because my life has really just evolved into this very naturally and progressively. But nothing I do is as impulsive as it might seem or sound, because it's all intuitive. So sometimes intuition is impulsive, but because it's intuitive, it's not really impulsive, because I have been feeling into it even when it comes up suddenly. So it's very interesting, and that was my attempt at sharing it with you. And I hope you found it enjoyable. And Brazil, bon dia. I'm gonna go get a massage on the beach. Tomorrow we go kite surfing. Dreams come true. Woo! Thanks for visiting Planit Butter, my world where I hopefully inspire you to build yours by being Intucentric. I'll see you Thursday. From my planet to yours.